Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sligo Show with myself, Brendan Tierney. Tonight we had a chat with Fionnuala McLoughlin from the Cry charity. I hope you enjoy.
The Sligo Show is produced by Pixel Productions and hosted by Brendan Tierney. If you need video for your business or live event or would like to appear on the show, send us a message today.
This show is in partnership with ATU Sligo Innovation Centre, the hub of innovation and commercial enterprise for startups, industry and academia.
Fionn, you are very welcome to the Sligo Show. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So you are here to tell us about a charity which I had not heard about, which is the Cry charity. For people like me who don't know what the charity is about, can you tell us a bit about it?
I can, yeah. I'm not surprised you haven't heard about it, even though it's been about since 2002. So that's actually 22 years in its existence. The Cry stands for Cardiac Risk in the Young. And what that is about is anybody who's lost somebody. The statistics out there at the minute in Ireland are about one person a week under the age of 35 who just dies suddenly without any warning. Healthy beforehand, sometimes on post-mortem, nothing shows up. Okay. And it leaves a lot of unanswered questions. So that's where Cry has become very important, as a charity.
And what was your own reason for getting involved in the charity?
Yeah, back in 2011, like you, Brendan, I never heard of the charity before I needed them. Yeah. It came about because my brother Jerry, who actually came to the college here in Sligo, he would have been just 44 at the time and was absolutely fine. Never had a day's sickness in his life, really. Well, apart from the usual, but nothing to worry about. Yeah, just the usual stuff. And that evening, the 6th of December 2011, he was putting up the Christmas lights in Manorhamilton, which a group of volunteers in Manorhamilton do, and he was actually doing it with his son Niall. Niall was 15 at the time. So they had done that from about 8 o'clock until maybe 11 or 12, and then the local pub, Gurns, they put up a pint for them and they went to the Chinese on the way home. So he wasn't sick, he wasn't feeling unwell, came home, went to bed, to Evelyn, his wife, just waking up to a sound, and it was just a noise she heard that alerted her, and then she just thought something wasn't right. So straight away they done CPR, got the doctor, got the ambulance out, of course, and the defib, but unfortunately nothing worked.
And it's just like a switch. There's no slowing down. It's just
nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, he hadn't complained about anything, and when they done the post-mortem, nothing came back. Nothing really showed up. Yeah. They just felt that it could have been an electrical abnormality. That's what they say when they don't see anything structurally wrong. And there was nothing to indicate that he was sick beforehand, or there was no blockages. There was nothing else to indicate that there was anything wrong with his heart.
So it's a real mystery.
It's just like that.
It is the worst of luck almost. Just
absolutely.
Completely no warning, no
out
nothing.
Of the blue. Like, I mean, I have to say for about a year afterwards, until you're in that position, you don't realise what it's like to lose somebody so suddenly. So it actually adds an extra tier to your grief because you have so many questions and you're really not getting any answers. You're looking things up, and as we all do, we go to Google Doctor, and I just even myself, when I was going to bed at night, I was just fearful of not waking up myself. And, I'm sure we all cope with it differently. So I'd be a real reader and a real trying to get to the bottom of it. And I suppose because I had been involved with CPR instructing as part of my job, I just couldn't.
It couldn't make sense of this. No closure as such. To try and figure out.
No closure. Okay. And with that, then by doing my research, I came across Cry, and for them, in the years that has intervened in since then, I was not a patient of theirs, but I went to the centre, I got checked out, and then Jerry's family, he has a son, Niall, and a daughter, Aoife, and they were checked out, and they're checked out every year, so they are.
So that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
So when you get, for the uneducated in this, when you get screened, it's not like, you're grand. Do they just check?
I'm a grand. So as his sister, when I found out that everything was okay. So they do a battery of tests, and they're all very straightforward. They're the things that you can think of, like a tracing of your heart. They do the treadmill test. They do some genetic testing as well. So, and nothing showed up on that. So then for my daughter, she didn't have to go and be tested because I was clear. But because Jerry's direct link with his
so
son and
closer
daughter,
to the person.
yes, they have to be checked every year. And because they were so young, Aoife was only 9 at the time, so they were so young at the time, they had to be checked. Aoife initially in Crumlin Hospital, and now she goes to Cry every year.
Where are they based in the centre?
They're based in Dublin. They're
Dublin,
based
okay.
in Tala Hospital. They used to be in a little mobile hut outside the hospital. So you went there, and then some of your tests you were brought into the cardiology unit. But now with the funding that Cry has done, the Cry charity, they now have their own centre built on the grounds of Tala Hospital. Yeah.
So to like for someone that, you know, in your situation, what was the first step of support Cry gave ye? You know, was it like grief counselling, or was it firstly the medical checks? Was it like, look, let's get it checked first, or? I
suppose I can only talk from me because there's 5 of us in our family, including Jerry. So we all went from a different angle. It's funny how people differ and they're in the same circumstances. So for me, I would have got referred by my GP, and there was no delay. It's a free service. Everything is free. The screening is free. Not that that makes a difference, but it's again part of what Cry do.
Okay,
so they
to
try
take away the barrier of that.
They take away the barrier of
that.
Okay. Absolutely, yeah. So that was the biggest thing for me, the reassurance that, like going to bed at night time, I wasn't sleeping. Yeah, I was waking up at the time that my other brother came to the house. Like I still, when I hear his Jeep outside the house, that memory comes back. Oh God, right, okay. Yeah, and that was about 5 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, it's not good news. But I actually didn't think it was anything to do with Jerry. You know, I would have more assumed my parents were elderly at the time. Yeah, and, you know, it was... You know, I would say it took at least 2 years for it to register what had happened, which seems crazy length of time wise, but that's the effect that a sudden death can have that you just don't have any answers for.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, like I haven't had like really, really close like yourself kind of, so I haven't seen that or understood it. But as you said, for anyone that does understand grief, and that is just another layer.
It's just another layer that's added to it, which I found then once I had the initial screening done, which probably was about 6 months later. You know, it probably took that time for me to, it wasn't that it was a delay in getting the screening done, but it probably took my head that time to process, did I really want to hear what I might be told?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. There's that other side you go, oh, this is going to check me out. But and so if someone is told is there a surgery procedure, or is it just constant monitoring thereafter?
Constant monitoring, and for some people, depending on what they find, they sometimes can detect stuff and they can pick stuff up. So with that, and that's where they encourage like screening for people who are heavily involved in sport. And as I said, now Cry itself mightn't have been well known, but people remember Cormac McLoughlin back in 2004, and he was only 24 when he passed away.
Tyrone footballer, I'm sure people
Tyrone
remember.
GA player. And then since then, Christian Eriksen, everyone witnessed that collapse that was on, but he was lucky he collapsed on the pitch surrounded by people.
Isn't it amazing?
You know, for Jerry, that happened to him in his sleep. Okay. For Cormac McLoughlin, that happened to him in his sleep.
So just
they had no chance. They had no chance
for anyone to come in. God, it just makes you surreal what Christian Eriksen was able to come back. So
and I'm sure there's people out there that know other people. You know, it's. You know, when they say 1 a week, that's about 80, up to 80 a year, which is big numbers really for something so sudden. And I know in our community, I can think of 3 or 4 people this has happened to.
God, it's intriguing to hear that side of it. Like, and it is such a different kind of a death. Like, compared to others.
And I'm not here to scare people. What I'm here to say is, if it has happened to you, or if you're living with an inherited heart condition, that you may have an internal defibrillator. That's what the Cry charity is here for, and the family support, because it's here. You're going to meet people that are through the same life experiences that you know, and say for the volunteers, we're a whole range of people. Like I lost Jerry, so sometimes if somebody calls through to the helpline, they've lost a sibling, then talking
get
to
matched
me.
up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and people who have lost parents, friends, cousins, girlfriend or boyfriend, sons and daughters. Like, unfortunately, all of us have been touched by it in one way or another.
I can't say I've talked to someone who's worked on such a helpline.
Yeah.
Do you find it? Do you find it nice to help people, or does it bring back a lot of sadness or
it's
trauma?
come full circle for
Okay.
me. So I suppose I've got the distance of time. Not that I've forgotten Jerry.
No, but
2011, like, I didn't join the helpline. Well, its inception was, we actually done our training during COVID times. So we done it all on Zoom. So we didn't even meet the other volunteers. And I've met a whole group of friends that have now become family. And we call ourselves the Cry family because that's what it's like. And the head of that, well, not the head of it, because it's not like we have a boss, but a lady called Elaine Whelan, and she is absolutely fantastic. She was just made for the role. She lost her brother. So she knows, and she is a full-time member. There's only 2 paid people on the staff. The rest are all volunteers.
Wow, and a big team. And as you said, there's
over 30.
There's the clinical side, there's that whole family support. The helpline is kind of the biggest asset of that, is it?
No, I would say both, because what the helpline is that family support, the counselling, and it's not always in the immediate grief that people come to us. There's no time limit on it. If people do want to reach out, absolutely. But sometimes you'll find it's 6 months, a year. It could be 20 years down the line. People might never have heard of it. Like, say, when this show goes out, somebody might just think, oh my God, I didn't even know that charity existed. That might be something that I need, because when you're in that boat and all your other family and friends are in the same boat, they've lost their person too. You can't always do that frank and open communication because everyone is looking after everybody else. So when you're talking to a stranger, who we are initially on the phone, it's probably a great place for you to just cry, or you don't even have to talk. We can talk for 5 minutes, we can talk for an hour. And like, part of that, some people aren't talkers. Now, I'm a talker, but some people just aren't. So another thing that's been established is the Cry Choir. So we do it on Zoom every Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know, was this events every year?
No, we do it on Zoom. It's a half an hour.
Lovely.
There's no pressure to come. There's no pressure to talk. And we are told that the microphones are turned down, that we're just singing to ourselves in the room. We hope that is true. So there's a lovely lassie called Lisa Nagel, who's the choir master of that. She's somebody who does choirs up in Newbridge and Kildare, and she's fabulous. She's a perfect person for her, because she would bring a very funny side to it, to a sad thing. But actually, it's a great way of getting people together. And I now, as I said, I know so many people now all around Ireland that I wouldn't have known only for Cry.
As I said, it's like the magic dust of the people that aren't there is now spread through and created this lovely community of people.
Yeah.
So as we've discussed, there's the screening and the whole medical side of it. There's the helpline and the support. And then you said there's a big day out, a gathering together and a day out.
Every year they always do a kind of a family day out, and family being the parents can bring the young kids. Like this year we had 180. So we end all up at the National Stud in Kildare, and it's a lovely place to be. Have you ever been there? It's just perfect.
No,
for
not in
it.
Kildare actually. No, I mixed it up with another stable down in Tipperary.
So they've got because they do it at that time of year because the horses have had the foals. So they bring the kids.
Lots of fresh
and
joy.
then they do have professional counsellors. So they have paediatric counsellors.
Wow.
So they bring the kiddies off, and they do kind of kids.
A one-day event, or is it?
It's a one-day event.
Okay, but that's amazing.
Yeah, and the fundraising goes towards that as well. And they would do adults then, the parents, they would have them, the siblings, they have them in a different group, and the friends, and so that it's kind of divided up, and it's an open space, but it's not a really sad day as people would imagine.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's a real coming together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's lots of chairs, don't get me wrong, but they're at the end of the day, I would say everyone that was there just got so much out of it, including the volunteers, especially the volunteers.
Yeah, I can imagine. As you said, putting the face to the voice.
Absolutely,
nice,
absolutely, yeah.
And for like, I mean, I don't know if there are other elements of this you want to kind of cover. Is there anything else you would tell to people out there that like? What would your advice be to someone that has gone through what you've gone through, or what's your advice? Or some people might be slow to go there, or they mightn't have realised it's there. Of course.
Well, I suppose my message would be today, which it's lovely to get the opportunity to just put the word out there that Cry is there, and their website is cry.ie, www, Cry in capital letters, Cry Ireland, because there is a Cry in England as well, because when I was Googling something today, all this stuff came up, but it wasn't about Cry in Ireland. So it's Cry Ireland. And then, do you mind if I read out a few?
Please read out whatever you need.
The free phone numbers.
And we can put these up as well on online Facebook.
So how the helpline would work, it doesn't matter what time of the day or night. Now, there won't obviously be a volunteer at the end of the line, but what happens is your message is heard and somebody will get back to you as soon as they can. So it doesn't matter if you're having a tough time during the night, somebody will get back to you. So they will. Okay.
So if it's a case of leave the message and someone come back.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Republic of Ireland number is 1-800-714-080, and from Northern Ireland and the UK it's 0044 8006 406280. And it's not just for somebody who has just lost somebody suddenly, it's also for people who are living with an inherited heart condition. They may have to wear a defibrillator, an internal defibrillator.
And that brings its own stress.
That's scary.
And scary. Yeah. So at least you meet other people in the same
And you'll meet other people. And there's, unfortunately, there's too many, that I know since I've become a volunteer with Cry that are in that position as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so for people, like, do you want to learn more about this, whether it's a charity or the condition, if that's what you would call it, or living with it, they're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram?
Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So if you put in Cry in capital letters Ireland, you will find them on all the socials.
All
the socials, and it'll lead you there. And actually Aidan O'Mahony has got involved, and I think his involvement with it is through Cormac McAnallen, because it resonated with him. Yeah. He was around the same age.
I'm not sure if they played against each other in the final.
They possibly
one of the previous
did,
years or something. I have some recollection of that. Okay. Aidan being the Kerry footballer, in case
he's
people
the
don't
Kerry,
realise that.
He used to play for Kerry, but he now is doing the Camino in de Santiago, the Portuguese way, and that's from the 7th to the 14th of September. So that's just one of the fundraisers.
You're saying multiple families do multiple fundraisers?
Yeah, it's all around the place. And actually, with my involvement with the Panto in Sligo, I got money from the Panto for something I was going to set up in Manorhamilton. It was a defibrillator group and training people up in the community, but it didn't work out, trying to get a lot of people together or whatever. So I actually used that money for one of the family days for Cry.
Oh, lovely.
So it went to a good...
Great. So the people of Sligo have been supporting this charity without realising it. And thank you.
We
first met through the hospital Panto,
yes.
And I know they're back again in January, so it's amazing to see how that money they've raised stretches across so many different groups.
Absolutely. You just wouldn't believe the outreaches of where that money would have gone to, and that's just Cry is just one of those charities it went to. Yeah.
Well, Fionnuala, thanks for coming in and telling your story. You're an amazing advocate for the charity, and lovely to keep the way you seem to talk about your brother. It's lovely to keep the memory going.
Absolutely.
And the group and the community sounds amazing. So I'm delighted I got to learn about this charity because I know people of families with this situation, so maybe they never even knew. So
I don't think so because, as I said, it was only because I'm nosy and I would do a lot of research when anything. I'm straight on there.
Yeah. And you're the researcher of the group going on holidays and things like that.
Yes, and I'm looking for information, and that's what led me to Cry. But I think more and more the word will get out there. Unfortunately, maybe sometimes because something has happened, and that's how a community gets to know about it, because obviously somebody then will start a fundraiser in memory of whoever their person is, and that's how people get to know about it.
Well, thanks very much for coming in. We might see you in the pantomime when it comes back next year. Who knows? Backstage or front stage? Who knows? It's good to see you. Listen, thank you very much for coming in.
No problem.
And we will talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So thanks to Fionnuala for coming in to talk to us about the charity she's involved with, which is Cry Ireland. Be sure to check them out on cryireland.ie or any of the usual social media outlets. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks to Brian behind the cameras for doing all the work, and we'll see you all again next time.
The Sligo Show is produced by Pixel Productions and hosted by Brendan Tierney. If you need video for your business or live event or would like to appear on the show, send us a message today.
This show is in partnership with ATU Sligo Innovation Centre, the hub of innovation and commercial enterprise for startups, industry, and academia.
So if you liked what you just seen, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel here. We've loads of great interviews from a load of really interesting people over the series. And if you're on social media, which I'm sure loads of you are, we are on Instagram and Facebook, so give us a follow there.